Hey guys, welcome back to another video. So in today's video I'll be showing you guys how you can make a model using Pycord. So model is a new feature in Discord which allows you to create forms, collect data and also respond. So here I have an example model. It is basically a subclass of the built-in discord.ui.model class. So here I've just added two items. Input texts are basically like text fields in the forms. So each input text has a label and a placeholder. So a label is essentially what you want to call it or what it is for, and a placeholder is just a placeholder for that field. You'll see more on that later. And there's also a callback with self and interaction as its parameters. So here I'm sending a response message containing the details that the user has filled in. So I've also linked it with a command named details, which essentially first sending the model and asking for the inputs. So here is a live demonstration. So let me just run the details slash command, and as you can see, after running it, a pop-up like this appears which asks for your name and gender. So I'm just gonna enter test name and test gender and click submit, and as you can see, it says your name is test name and your gender is test gender. So I forgot to show one thing, so let me just run it again. So this is what the placeholder is. It acts as the name of the field in place of what you actually want to type. So here, after seeing the placeholder, we would instantly know that we would have to type the name and gender. So let's see how we can code this. So one requirement is that you need to have the latest version of Pycord to actually make models. So let me just remove everything. So here I just have a basic bot with this as the debug guild ID and intents. So if you are on Discord API version 10, then you would have to enable the message content intent, but I changed it manually to 9, so I don't have to do that. So now first thing, we need to import the model and text input classes from Discord. So from discord.ui import model input text. So you can actually do that directly, but this would just save us some time. Now we need to subclass the model class. So this here is how subclassing works. So you just create a normal class, name it anything you want. I'm just gonna name it details model, and you need to add a bracket at the end of it, and inside that brackets you need to specify the model. So this shows that you're gonna subclass the official model class. Now you need to create an init function which overrides the existing init function. So the parameters will be self, args and quargs. So this is so that you can change the details for every model you make. That is the title. So this needs to be 2 stars. And now we need to take some features of the parent model. In this case, we've already subclassed it from the model, and we have also specified arguments and quarks. So we can just write args and quarks inside this, and we're gonna change it later. So now we need to add a text input item to this model. So that's pretty easy. You just put self.add item, which is a function, and this has a parameter which accepts an input text instance. So I'm just gonna pass in an input text. So an input text essentially contains two broad parameters and also a style parameter. So the two broad parameters are label and placeholder. So the label is actually what you want the name of the input text to be. So here I'm just gonna ask what is your name, and the placeholder is gonna be the name. And the third parameter is optional. It is a style. It is to mention whether it's a long text input, that is like if it's like an about me or a description, then you can specify that. But by default it's a short text input, so you don't need to specify that for details such as name. So I'm just gonna add another text input just like the same, but at this time the label is going to be enter a suitable description of yourself. And the placeholder is just gonna be description. Also guys, remember the placeholder needs to be small to make the form look better. So here I'm going to specify that style as discord.inputText.long. So this says that we need to be able to enter a lot of information. So the last thing we're going to be doing is adding a callback function. So suppose you want to reply to the details in that model. Like here it says your name is test name and your gender is test gender. So you need to collect these data and reply it with a custom message or an embed. So let's create a callback for that. It's just an async function named callback, and it has basically just one parameter, but we need to specify self because it's in a class. So it's interaction, which basically contains the interaction that this model has given. So it's a model interaction. So first we're gonna be creating an embed. So the embed is gonna be called as user details, and let's just give it a color of blue. So let's add a field to the embed with the name of just the name and a value of the actual result of this input. So how do we get the result of the input? So model, so it has a parameter called children, so we can just access that. This is basically a list of all the inputs, so we need to access the first input. So we're just gonna get the first item in that list, and we're gonna check the value. So this value is going to be essentially what you type. So let's just also make it inline equals false, and same way I'm going to add one for the description as well, and this time it's going to be the second item in the list, so it's going to be 1. And just made a mistake here, and here we're gonna send the thing, but instead of doing ctx.send, we need to do interaction.response.send message embed equals embed. So that's basically it for our model. So this is our base model. Now we need to create a command which returns this model. So since I just directly subclass discord.bot, you don't need to specify / command, but if you used commands.bot you will have to. So I'm just gonna create a command with the name of details, and it's just gonna have one parameter, which is the context. And now we're just gonna ask for our model. So the model accepts a title, so the title is going to be the name of what your model is going to be called. I'm just going to call it user details form. And now you don't do await ctx.respond model equals model as a parameter, because that's not yet officially supported. It might not work. So instead you need to do await ctx.send model and then the model. So let's just go over it. So first we subclass the model class, we create an init function, we create two input texts, and it's gonna have a label and a placeholder. A style is optional, but if you want you can add it. The style is basically an enum, and then we create a callback function. You can also reply it with an embed or just a message, but in this case, to make it look better, we're replying it with an embed. So it has a title and a color, and how you access the input text is basically through the children's list. It's a list that contains the input text details that you've specified here. So we're getting the first of that and getting the value of it, and same for the second description. So and then we're sending the embed. So then we create a command called details, and then we create a model out of it. We reference the instance of the model and add a title, and we just send the model. Hey guys, there was a little bit of problem with the slash commands, so now I've fixed it. So there was a problem registering the slash command, so I just removed it and created a new one. But anyways, this is how it works. So after you enter, it asks for our details. So I'm just entering my details, and also I changed it from an embed to a message because it did not work with an embed. So anyways, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys in another video.